The Pittsburgh real estate market is getting crazier by the day. We have low inventory, rising demand, and we're back to the multiple offers situation with homes getting over 10 offers within 2 days. If you're trying to buy a home in Pittsburgh, you've probably noticed things are selling fast. And if you're not ready, you could lose out on your dream home before you even step inside of it. The biggest mistake buyers are making right now is really hesitation. Every day you wait could cost you thousands of dollars as home prices are slowly rising as demand increases, and we're getting into our spring season here, so buyers are coming out of the woodworks. So get ready for more competition and higher prices. But don't worry, I help buyers navigate markets like this every single day, and today I'll be breaking down what's been going on in the market, why buying a home right now is so competitive, how you could stand out in multiple offer situations, how to position yourself correctly, and what to expect from the market in the next 6 to 12 months. If you're even thinking about buying a house in Pittsburgh, this video is a must watch. So why is the market heating up so much? Well, less inventory means more buyers fighting for less homes. Right now, there simply aren't enough homes for sale, and we've been facing this for years. A lot of sellers are holding off because they're currently sitting at maybe a 2 to 3% interest rate, and if they were to go and buy another house, it's going to be around a 6.5% interest rate as of today. So that's going to increase their monthly mortgage payment, and they're going to be getting less house for it because prices are not only up, but the interest rates affect that monthly mortgage payment pretty significantly. So sellers are holding off on buying a new home in hopes that the interest rates are going to come down. That way they could move into something even nicer or at least comparable to their current house. In some of the hottest neighborhoods right now, we're already seeing around 10 to 15, maybe 20 offers on a single property in the matter of 2 days. This means buyers, we have to move fast with offers and we have to come in strong. And strong necessarily doesn't mean the highest price, but it means terms, it means strategic clauses. That way you're not going over asking price if you don't have to. And we'll get into more of the ways you could actually win your offer momentarily. But another reason demand is surging is because Pittsburgh is still undervalued compared to cities like Washington, D.C., New York, and even Philadelphia. Relocators from higher cost areas, which we work with every single day, are definitely driving up demand in the Pittsburgh region and making competition even tougher for not only relocators, but for locals looking to buy. So if you are a local buyer, you're not just competing with people in Pittsburgh. You're competing with buyers from all over the country. And a lot of times they're used to home values being maybe $600,000. They come to Pittsburgh and it's half of that. So they have more cash to put down here in Pittsburgh and more money to spend on a property compared to maybe local buyers who are used to the lower price point. And although mortgage prices are high, it is not slowing down buyers. So I can't imagine if they get cut even more, what demand that would have on the market and what it would do to the prices. Some people thought rising interest rates would cool off the market. And it did for a little bit, especially in the slower season when not as many people were moving. But now that we're getting into the warmer weather, school's getting out soon, and people are on the move, the interest rates really aren't having much of an effect. And 6.5% is lower than the 8% that it hit a few months ago. So yes, we do see them coming down, not as low as the COVID crisis when they were around 3%, but they're in that mid-range of around 6%. And yes, affordability is tighter. Property prices, although they have come down a little bit, they're staying pretty steady. But buyers who need to move are still moving. They're not going to let the prices or the rates affect their lives. And many people are just taking the buy now, refinance later strategy, which means that demand is going to stay high as people realize that they can refinance when rates come down. They're not going to put a pause on their life. They're going to get into the dream home that they want. And if they want to move to Pittsburgh, they're moving to Pittsburgh. And honestly, the buyers who are waiting, thinking rates are going to drop dramatically, could end up paying more for their house later on, because as rates do drop, it's going to cause prices to increase due to the higher demand for these properties. So although prices are kind of balanced with the rates, so it's either you have lower prices and higher rates, or you have higher rates and lower prices. So when the rates come down even more, the prices are likely going to be driven up by that demand. So this is what I like to talk about, how to win in this market. We're gonna find out how to win in any environment because that's what we do here. We win offers and it's the best feeling ever. So I've been in real estate. Honestly, my dad's been investing in Pittsburgh real estate for about 30 years and I've been with him throughout it all. So even as a little kid, we would get so excited when we won the deal on the buying side compared to now as a real estate professional when I'm fighting for my clients, presenting offers to win the deal for them. Nothing lights me up more than getting the call that we beat out 20 other offers and I get to tell my clients that the house is theirs when they were so anxious that it wouldn't be because maybe they didn't think they went up high enough in price or they couldn't. So they thought, well, someone's definitely going to outbid them. But with the right structure of terms, we've been able to successfully win multiple bidding wars, especially over the past 4 years, being that the market has been pretty insane. So the first thing I like to tell my buyers is we need to get a strong pre-approval if they don't have the ability to pay cash. And I'm not saying a basic pre-approval letter that most people go through. Sellers want to see a rock solid pre-approval letter from a reputable lender. I work with lenders that could get my clients fully underwritten before we ever place the offer. This makes your offer as close to cash as possible and gives you a major edge. Think about it this way. If your pre-approval letter wasn't fully underwritten and you just had a basic pre-approval letter, now the big concern the sellers have is once this goes into underwriting, what are they going to find? Is the mortgage going to go through? A lot of times the underwriting process is what disqualifies the person from getting the loan. So if you could get the mortgage file actually underwritten before you even place the offer and present a fully underwritten mortgage pre-approval, that is going to take a lot of stress out of the seller's mind and they see your loan pretty much as good as cash, meaning little problems will happen to stop you from actually getting fulfilled on that loan. So we've been able to team up with some of the most reputable lenders in Pittsburgh that all of the sellers' agents know, have heard of, and trust, and we're able to really present fully underwritten pre-approval letters that could assure the sellers that the buyers have a great probability of zero issues popping up with this loan being fulfilled. Another pro move is to consider a appraisal gap guarantee, meaning that if a home gets bid up above its asking price, sometimes the appraisal isn't going to match the offer price. But if you have the means to do it, an appraisal gap typically tells the seller that if the appraisal comes in low, you will cover the gap up to X amount or you will fully cover that gap. This makes your offer way stronger than someone just offering a large amount of money but with no strategy behind it. Because think about it this way, if you're selling your house and you price it at $250,000 and an offer comes in for $300,000, well, yes, you want to take it, but the first question comes to your mind, well, is the lender going to appraise it at that value? And if the comparables in the neighborhood don't match it and there's a likelihood that it won't get appraised at that value, well, then the seller is going to ultimately have to come down to $280,000 or $275,000, whatever the banks decide it's worth. And then that makes the offer a lot less attractive than the $300,000 that they thought they were going to get. So putting that gap in there and saying you'll ensure that you will get that $300,000 because if it appraises at $280,000, I'm willing to cover the $20,000 in order to ensure that we're sticking with the purchase price that I initially came in at. And you could always do a $10,000 appraisal gap, $15,000. It doesn't have to be the full amount, but showing that you're willing to kind of cover part of that gap can really assure the seller that they're going to get close to what they thought they were when they accepted your offer to begin with. And another way to avoid all of this is just do cash if you have the ability, because with cash, you don't need an appraisal gap or an appraisal to begin with. But being on the seller side, representing sellers all the time, I could tell you that this appraisal gap is a huge deal because ever since COVID, appraisers got a lot stricter on what they're letting go. They don't want to just sign off on a property and say it's worth $300,000 if it's worth $270,000. That is not happening. Lenders, banks, they are strict, especially since 2008. So they want want to be very pungent on the value that they're placing on these properties that they're actually lending the money for. And another thing you could do to get your offer accepted is really find out what's important to the seller, and that comes down to making sure your agent is properly communicating with the seller's agent before you place the offer to see what factors are important. Do they want a quick closing date? Do they maybe want a longer closing date because they still have to move things out and they're moving into a new house? Maybe they're building one and it's not going to be ready for 2 months. So you always want to structure the terms to be very favorable to the sellers. And not all sellers are looking for the highest offer. They just want the smoothest deal. So if you could offer a flexible closing timeline or even a rent back option, these are little things that can make your offer stand out, as well as maybe increasing your earnest money deposit instead of a standard 1%, which you see a lot of people do. Maybe do 3 to 4% to show I am very serious about this property. That money is going to stay in escrow anyway and get put to your closing costs unless something falls through. So it's not like you're just giving money up, it's ultimately your money, but it just shows that the faith you have, but it just shows that you're more serious than others and you're willing to put more money on the line. You're not just going to back out, and you're not going to back out for no reason, and you only have a $2,000 fee. You might not care about that. You'll let that go and back out. But if it's something like a $10,000 earnest money fee, you're not going to be as inclined to just back out of the deal for no reason because you have $10,000 on the line. And the sellers see that as you're a more serious buyer. And another thing, so inspections, I never recommend to waive an inspection. I know people do, but there's different ways to navigate this inspection. You might not want to get 5 inspections and scare the seller off, but there's different things you could put in the offer, such as inspections are for information purposes only. I will not negotiate after, because that's a big concern that sellers have is, yeah, you're offering $300,000, but you're going to come back with $20,000 in repairs, and that's going to bring you down to $280,000. So ensuring that you won't negotiate after inspections happen is a very strong suit and allows you to still get inspections on the house. Some people waive them, some people pay cash, and it's going to be hard to beat them. And it's ultimately the buyer's choice if they want to waive inspections, if they want to maybe view it and have a contractor with them, which my dad also owns a home improvements company, so definitely something we work out with our clients. But if you want to initially view the property really quick with a contractor, or try to get a very quick inspection and have a minimal period around 5 to 7 days instead of the standard 10 to 12, that can ensure that they're not keeping the property off the market for too long, and then if they have to relist, they're just wasting time. So having a short inspection period is also a favorable term you could throw in there in order to still get your inspection, but make the sellers happy as well. And another way we get offers accepted is throwing different clauses in the offer contract, which basically states that you could beat out other buyers by a certain amount up to a certain amount, and these have been gold in order for you not to go way over asking price to begin with, but maybe stick with around asking price, maybe a few $1,000s over with your initial price, but have a max amount and a certain increment you want to beat other people out by. That has been gold in getting offers accepted, but it really comes down to working with an agent that has experience in this, that has the passion in order to craft up offers. I've seen so many poor offers being written to sellers that just have no umph and creativeness. It's just your standard plain Jane offer that's just really going to get passed by, especially when there's 20 others. So every little aspect of the offer, the communication between the buyer and the seller's agent, is extremely important in order to know how to craft this offer up, know what's important to them, know the right terms, and ultimately win the situation, and it's what we love to do. So if you are looking to move to Pittsburgh and you want an agent on your side to get the property of your dreams, then this is what we help people do every single day. So feel free to call, text, email, DM us, any way you want to get a hold of us. This is what we do 24/7. It's what we absolutely love. And you could go ahead and find our information here on the screen, but also in the description below always. So call or text anytime, whether you're relocating, whether you're a local buyer. We are so happy to help you in your home purchase journey here in Pittsburgh. Now, why is hesitation right now stopping buyers from getting the home of their dreams? So I just had a client go to an open house Saturday and tell me they actually wanted to offer on the place on Sunday. They told me Sunday night. And by that time, it already had 10 offers and they called for highest and best already. So it's important, once you understand you want to make an offer, then you want to communicate that with your agent and you want to get the ball rolling as soon as possible, because hesitation in this market is unfortunately going to make you lose out on the house that you want. So you want to be fast, and it's just the environment we're in. Not everyone wants to be rushed into buying something, but you just have to be prepared to speed up the process, be fast, and be decisive when you see a place if it's something you want to move on. That way, us agents could get started on your offer, crafting it up, and getting it into the agent as soon as possible. And if you're waiting for prices to drop significantly, unfortunately, the truth is you might be waiting forever. We're getting into our hot season again. We see prices slowly starting to creep up, and I'm not sure if they'll come down at all. This might just be the new normal. So it's a truth that you have to get used to, and I wouldn't wait something out, especially being that we're getting into the summer. And this is when a majority of people look for properties. So in other terms, the demand's going up, which is going to cause the prices to increase. On top of that, every 1% increase in interest rate can actually reduce your buying power. So if rates go up 1%, your monthly payment could go up a few $100s. So who knows where rates are going in the next few months? I do notice they've came down a little bit, but if they're at a level you're comfortable with, then I would say it's time to take action. 6.5% is better than 8%, but it's not as good as 3%. So it's going to be a compromise, but you just have to look at the current rates, how that sits in your financial situation, and if you're comfortable with it, it's time to start shopping. And like we said, more competition is just going to cause more offers, which is all going to be bidded up. So terms could kind of outweigh that price, but you just want to keep in mind, the longer you wait, the more competition's coming in, the higher the prices are going to go. And if you hesitate on a home, somebody will snatch it up. So is this crazy market going to cool off anytime soon? Well, here's what the experts are saying. Inventory may increase slightly, and personally, I've seen it increase a little bit, and most people list their properties during this time of year. So yes, you're going to see more inventory, but no, you're not going to see enough to balance the market. Unfortunately, there's so many pent up buyers who have been waiting to buy, especially the people who are millennials, they're around my age, and they're looking to purchase either starter homes or they're looking to purchase a home to grow a family in. These people are frustrated with the market and they are ready to buy and they are ready to be competitive. And that's taking up a large pool of our buyers right now. So demand's still going to outweigh the supply no matter how many homes get listed, especially for move-in ready homes in desirable areas. And personally for rates, I think they could drop slightly, but I don't expect a huge crash down back to 3%. I think rates can and probably will slightly lower over the course of this year, but nothing dramatic, maybe sitting at 5%, which would be pretty balanced and on the lower side compared to 6.5 where we're at now. And the growth of Pittsburgh, in all honesty, is just keeping things very strong. With job growth, significant infrastructure investments, and a lot more people relocating to the Steel City, Pittsburgh real estate is positioned for long-term appreciation. And with prices so suppressed compared to other major cities, I think there's nowhere to go but up. So if you are thinking about buying a home, obviously you know you need a strategy, especially in a market in a city like Pittsburgh. You need an agent who understands the market, the neighborhoods, inside and out. And if you want to win in a market like this and avoid costly mistakes, and maybe agents who aren't as passionate, not as creative, and not as involved every day in crafting up these offers, then you definitely need to reach out to us, because this is what we do 24/7, and we are here to get your offer accepted in a competitive market, guide you throughout the entire city, all of the best neighborhoods to purchase in, what even investment looks like, what appreciation could be, where will be the best areas for long-term growth, best school districts for families, best builders for new construction. We are your go-to resource for everything Pittsburgh real estate. So if you want to craft a winning home buying plan that actually works, then simply reach out to us. Our contact information is in the description below. Also up here on the screen, you could call, text, email, DM anytime. We are constantly working, and this is what we love to do. So I look forward to talking to you soon, and subscribe for our next video if you want to see some more information about Pittsburgh real estate, Pittsburgh new construction, some home tours. Then you could go ahead and click these videos right here, and we'll see you in the next one.